Hi again then guys, and welcome to episode 96 of B-Road Ballers on Gran Turismo 2 again in particular this week. And I want to apologise before we get into the video for the kind of clunky frame rate in this video. I'm not sure why that's happened. It was fine before. I haven't done anything differently, but the software that I use to make these videos has been updated, and since the update it's kind of gotten worse, but that seems to be the case with a lot of updates these days. And so this particular vehicle, which to my knowledge has only ever been featured on Gran Turismo 2, not before or since, is a very specialised car. And technically speaking, it is a vehicle which could justifiably be featured in Forget Your Warranty, the review series for the aftermarket tuner cars of Gran Turismo, or B-Road Ballers, because of course this is a hot hatch and general hatchback series, so why feature it here instead of there? Well, mainly because this car is more useful in the broad scheme of hatchbacks than it is in the broad scheme of aftermarket tuner cars, because the simple fact is you're not running huge numbers. It's a relatively small, affordable car to begin with, even though it is an aftermarket tuner car built by a very exclusive company. And so it's just better suited, basically, up against other hatchbacks than it is up against stuff like Mines Evos and Nismo Skylines. It just can't compete with those cars. So, with that being said, what is this car? What does it offer? Well, the base vehicle is a Nissan Micra, or the Nissan March, depending on where you live. Very popular model, a car which I don't fit into very well. I tried to back in college. Didn't really go that well, but a popular car for most people who own them. You don't really hear complaints about these vehicles. They get the job done, exactly what you want from a small, affordable city runabout. This one, though, takes it to another level, because this, of course, is the Tommykaira version called the M13, and it's kind of the holy grail of micras, if you will. Now, the stock spec isn't huge. You're only running just over 80 or so horsepower. It's relatively light, as you'd expect, and in the broad scheme of things, it's not even that quick, even though it is an aftermarket car. When you tune it, though, this is a very useful vehicle, and one which I can personally attest to because of using it so much in the Gran Turismo 2 career mode. Because in fully tuned form, this car, which only costs 16,000 credits to begin with, which is very impressive for an aftermarket car, let alone a hot hatch, has a 1.3 litre turbo engine. It's front engine, of course, front wheel drive as you'd expect, and in that fully tuned spec, it puts out 182 horsepower and 158 pound-feet of torque. Those are pretty good numbers. That's kind of Honda Integra Type R or Civic Type R territory, which for a Micra or a March is a good way to be. That's very promising. Now, when you add that onto the fact that the car only weighs 763 kilos, puts out 239 horsepower per tonne, and is just a really compact vehicle. In fact, it's one of the most compact non-K cars you can get, and its track potential is through the roof. So, of course, the question is, does it actually deliver on that potential and on those great specs? Because having great specs, as many of you guys know, is not always a guarantee of having good performance. There are plenty of hot hatches, as well as other vehicles, which have good numbers, which don't deliver on those good numbers. Well, no, that's not the case at all with this car, and as I mentioned just now, I use this car a lot and continue to use it a lot on Gran Turismo 2, because as far as under 200 horsepower events go, this is one of the best vehicles I've found. Not only is it affordable to begin with, of course tuning costs do add up quickly, but at least that initial cost is nice and low, and for under 200 horsepower, in fact for up to say 260 or even 300 horsepower events, it actually dominates them. It's so good through the corners, so easy to drive, and it's just a pleasure to work with. And so, if you are on Gran Turismo 2, I would strongly recommend checking this car out. But that's it overall for this particular pick. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.